Car air conditioning is a modern marvel, but it's also a big source of pollution. Fortunately, technology is improving. Cars now have solar panels that power ventilation fans with free, clean energy. The chemicals we use for AC have gotten literally hundreds of times less damaging to the environment. And electric vehicles just aren't reducing the amount of gasoline we burn, they're also revolutionizing how we keep ourselves cool on those summer road trips. The luxurious experience of a cool ride in brutal heat used to come at a high environmental and financial cost. But new tech is changing the game. Let's start with refrigerants, the chemicals that used to be terrible but are now, thanks to science, less terrible. In 2021, automakers started switching to a new refrigerant called R-1234YF. Yes, that name sounds like a bad Wi-Fi password, but stay with me. R-1234YF has a global warming potential value in the single digits. Compare that to the old and busted R-134A refrigerant, which is literally more than 1,000 times worse, and you'll understand why scientists are patting themselves on the back for this one. And it's already catching on. Over 95% of new cars in the US now use R-1234YF. It's mandatory in the EU, and the EPA is rolling out regulations to phase out the older stuff across the US. But refrigerants are only part of the story. You've probably heard of solar panels on houses, but what about on cars? Solar-assisted AC systems are real, and they're quietly helping to reduce emissions. Some car makers, like Toyota with the Prius Prime and Hyundai with the Sonata Hybrid, have installed small rooftop solar panels that power ventilation fans. These fans kick in while the car is parked, keeping the interior cool and reducing the load on the AC when you come back to your car that's been baking in the sun. But if we're talking about new tech of the present and future, we can't leave out the fact that artificial intelligence is being shoved into literally everything, including your car's AC. Several automakers are developing smart climate systems that use sensors and AI to adjust temperature based on your body temperature, sunlight angles, humidity, and where you're sitting. They also learn your preferences over time, meaning your car can eventually guess at exactly what you want when you want it. Some systems even use facial recognition and infrared sensors to determine whether passengers are too hot or cold. But let's talk about the older cars. Because no matter how many Teslas or Rivians roll off assembly lines, there are still hundreds of millions of older cars belching refrigerants and burning gas like it's going out of style. Which, by the way, it is. The good news is retrofitting is a thing. Older AC systems can often be converted to use newer, less harmful refrigerants. There's also a growing push for policy incentives, tax credits, repair rebates, and regulations that push automakers and service centers to upgrade systems. And that leads us to the real hope of all this: policy and innovation working together. We've seen it before. When governments phased out CFCs in the 90s to save the ozone layer, they didn't just pass laws, they funded the transition. The same can happen here. In fact, the Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol, a global agreement to phase out super-polluting refrigerants, has been ratified by the US with bipartisan support. Yes, I said bipartisan support. Republicans actually voted for something climate-related. It's rare, like White Lobster rare. So we should celebrate the win and work towards getting more.